Alright, launch week is here, which means that there are a plethora of webtoons to read and to choose from. And with so many webtoons to choose from, they can be overwhelming. So I have read them all and will provide you with the shortest guide on all these webtoons, or at least as many as I can. Honestly, there were only a few that caught my attention, but it was still great to read all of these webtoons and make this video for you. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hello, I'm the 25th Genius. If you like this video, we're almost at 200 subscribers, so it will be really great if you leave a like and subscribe, and let's get into the video. So I'm going to try to keep this video as short as possible while being detailed, but there are a lot of webtoons, so work with me here please. The genres are always divided into two categories: action thriller and romantic comedy, something like that. This should be in order, so let's do it. One HP Club. Not really my style. The whole comedy aspect really didn't do it for me. I think it's a good webtoon. It just wasn't the one for me. If you like comedy, action types of things, this is definitely for you. To Not Die, another bullying webtoon, which I'm very happy for the amount of these types of webtoons we are getting, really shining a light to bullying, especially in the Asian cultures. But nevertheless, it's here, and honestly, its premise and story had me hooked, but I feel there was one other webtoon that completely destroyed it. Questism, possibly one of the, if not the best webtoon to have come out of launch week of the month of January. Now, you may be thinking I love this webtoon because of the hot girls, as I am a degenerate that cares about shallow things, and yeah, you will be exactly correct. I mean, the guys in the webtoon are what else, but the girls? Oh yeah, Alex. But seriously, this webtoon is really good and possibly one of the best ones to come out of the launch week this month. But you may be wondering why exactly. It's not like the idea of a character who uses quest to get OP has ever been done before, and this also you are correct. But what exactly makes this webtoon top tier? And the answer is something that I've read on comments and even seen in many posters like that. And that this webtoon is very similar to Dice. If you are a Dice lover and enjoyed the story, what was of it anyway, then this webtoon might seem familiar to you. Think about it. You have the most wanted bread shuttle, the really, really hot girl, who I'm still simp for to this day. You got a method that would change the main character from super wuss to even more super wuss. But with a dark dystopian like Dice, and with many things that are similar to Dice, if you really needed more Dice, well, something's wrong with you if you did, then this webtoon might be for you. Seriously, Dice recently just ended, and I feel that Dice left a lot of holes that we all really just need filled, and maybe Questism will be that hole filler for you. Dummy's Dummy. This was alright for a horror webtoon, but I'm really not into anything scary, but I do like the concept of a young girl who can see ghosts and is tormented by that. This kind of reminds me of how Mieruko should have been to me, but didn't turn out. Spoilers. But other than that, there was really nothing I grasped. Murim's RPG Stimulator. Another generic rewind time, got revenge, rewrite the wrongs type of thing. I do like the four dragons and the martial art aspect of it, but this webtoon really does nothing unique outside that point. I do talk about how Questism kind of hasn't done anything with his level up with quest and do this and do that, and we're seeing more and more of these types of webtoons permeate in the comic universe as their own standalones. And yes, RPG Stimulator does try its best to make it different by kind of adding this whole martial art for dragons type of thing, but I don't know. It's something that I would have to read more to really see if I really like it or not. Now, this webtoon was actually pretty good, and it's something that I am thinking about continuing going forward. Honestly, if Questism needed a fight for the first place to me, I think Straylight Tiger would be a very good contender for it. So, Straylight Tiger focuses on the world being divided into three types of people. Whereas the mortals generally are the lowest of people, but then they gained power. And the world basically revolves around that. Off the bat, I was really just intrigued about how it breaks down its world. If you're going to make a fantasy isekai transport to another world, I do feel like what makes isekai such a unique thing to watch is the different types of worlds that we get to explore. And Starlight Tiger definitely does that right off the bat by giving us a very intricate world with a lot of limitless potential. Also, knowing that this is divided into three factions, we get to see another element that we tend to have a little bitter heart for, and which is this whole hierarchy. It's for reasons why we like webtoons like Unordinary, because it shows this really hierarchy, and the question is how we're going to overcome it. Seriously, I think this is one of the better webtoons, so definitely give this one a check. Secretary Out of Order. Now, honestly, I really, really enjoyed this webtoon. For such a funny title, it actually lived up to it. So I'm really happy for the translator for translating this perfectly. So, Secretary Out of Order focuses on this secretary who really doesn't like her boss, and she basically wants to quit after winning the lottery. Wouldn't you? So basically, she tries to quit, but he just looks at her and says, "You're just not quitting." So she tries to make herself like the worst secretary, and so he assumes that his secretary is broken and he's trying to fix her. Again, for a comedy, this is really how you sell comedy for me, in the sense of not so much as you're trying to do it, whereas the webtoon itself internally is comedic itself. I feel that the webtoon is not trying to be the standalone comedy, but more as a romance that just has a lot of comedy in it. And I think hiding the romance or the romance vibes and atmosphere in it is really what makes it enjoyable to me. But seriously, Secretary Out of Order is probably one of the, if not, yeah, it's up there in the top three of good webtoons this month. Our House. Um, do you know that webtoon's super secret? Well, it kind of feels like that in terms of artwork and overall atmosphere. And honestly, in terms of plot, it does feel that way, where all these zany events keep happening. Not like really weird or supernatural, but more just like, this girl just is way in over her head and just things happen. I'm really curious to where this story is going to go. Hopefully, it takes a deeper step into the look of these people's past, but honestly, it was a really good read. I definitely would check it out, but not over the other webtoons that I find in Fiends. No. Bob Jack! This was okay. Probably a webtoon that I'm more likely gonna binge read, maybe. But it was kind of okay. The artwork was a little something that I'm not used to. But overall, as an American originally, no matter how much I try to act Japanese or live in Japan, it felt really good to see a lot of American culture references put into this webtoon. So I gotta give shout outs to that. Vibe Check is a comedy that focuses on this aspiring artist who keeps trying to pitch his idea for the next big thing and being told that we're just not having it. So he thinks his career is lost until he meets an alien that just tells him the best way to fix his career is to have a bunch of vibes. The premise of it is really weird, but again, it was enjoyable to read. I wouldn't say it made me laugh more than Secretary Out of Order, but again, it was really good to just have some nostalgia feels from old classic American cartoons that I've grown up and loved. And that is it for launch week. It wasn't that many webtoons, thank goodness, but probably the other months are going to be way worse. But if you like these types of videos and what I do, please leave a like and a subscribe. With that being said, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.